As the Call of Duty Zombies franchise continued to grow over the years, I felt as though I shared that same dimension of growth that shaped it into the popular mode that it is today. More specifically, I wanted to talk about the philosophy in change when it comes to the Ultimis and Primis versions of our beloved four heroes that I'm sure most of you, like myself, have fought and grown with for the past decade. All those zombies taken down, all of those maps spent learning how to play zombies, all those Easter eggs that both blew our minds and set us to tears. It's definitely the experience of this game mode that has become a very essential piece of my existence as a gamer and as a person. As of this recording, I'm a 19-year-old soon to be 20. In this 2-decade lifespan that I have inhabited this vessel of flesh and blood carrying my conscience, half of that was spent with the zombies crew. Dempsey, Nikolai, Takio, and Richtofen. Over the years, I watched as they continued to travel across space and time, continuously fighting against the undead hordes in a fight to survive, in addition to furthering Richtofen's secret agendas. The Ultimis characters were a wild, more off-leash kind of group who would shout stereotypical gibberish that made them mindless killing machines, fueling their own bliss as they found joy in slaughtering hordes of the undead. Primis, on the other hand, is more mature and still has the old charm of Ultimis, but they fought with a more clearer understanding of themselves and the shattering world around them, fending off the undead as guardians, as heroes. And each character brought forth very deep and relatable experiences, even on an adventure as grand and bombastic as theirs were. Black Ops 3's journey allowed the characters to embrace very heavy and mature themes presented in the new, fractured reality of the Ether. I've stated previously in another video that my favorite of all four was Takio, breaking the chains that originally held his life down. After all, life isn't everything that's defined by the titles you're given or the responsibilities and burdens obstructing your point of view. Despite this being my favorite, I have to give credit to the other three characters for what they've had to go through. Let's begin with Dempsey. Dempsey has always been a hot-headed, self-loving Marine that's always put up a pretty damn good fight. But, in Der Eisendrache, he had to face the one thing that would cause him to develop a different perspective on his own self. It seemed that during the map, there would be talks of Dempsey looking forward to seeing his Ultimis self, claiming that he was one handsome devil. But getting closer to the goal of the mission, he would learn that sacrificing himself was the only way to ensure mission success in Richtofen's plan. So he was willing to let go of himself in order to move on and realize that there were more important things in life than just his own, and that there was more to life than just the mission. So from what I'm able to extract from Dempsey's development is selflessness, and taking the leap of faith into the unknown. I apply this to myself so I can realize that being able to make difficult decisions and looking past selfish goals can be possible through the outlooks of other people around myself. Next up is Nikolai. Nikolai's case was interesting considering the difficult path that he needed to take come Gorod Krovi. When he first lands in the city, he's greeted by his crazed Ultimis self having gone mad from isolation and vodka, in addition to taking his anger and frustrations out on the zombies and dragons plaguing Stalingrad. Primis Nikolai looks at himself and reacts with disgust, accepting the fact that that Nikolai is who he could possibly become, while insisting that he shall remain the same honorable man when it's time to stop fighting. In the end, however, Primis Nikolai mans up and confronts himself after a very hard-pressed fight. The reason why this hits home for me is in my current state as a young man, I can only dream about who I could become 20 years down the road. If it's a man who hides from himself and tries to drown the past through miserable indulgence of anything, then I would hope that there's still that part of me willing to pull through, wake me up and realize the truth. That's what I take from Nikolai. Don't run away from your mistakes or your grief. Confront them. Be open about them.
Yes, the pain of your own memory.
And last but not least, Richtofen. He's been trying his best to help the other three characters get through their own personal journeys. As such, a responsibility and burden has been placed upon his shoulders to make sure that they are able to get past the trials that would have challenged Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takeo. But for himself, the challenge was to keep it together as he stared death in the face and openly acknowledged the fear of the end, a fear of being gone despite all of his efforts. Richtofen is just as mortal as the next guy. He didn't let the inevitability of death shut him down from pursuing the better tomorrow that he always would preach about. So the thing I'd say is important to extract from Richtofen is not to be afraid of death. We always count down how much time we have left and take steps to avoid an inevitable fate, but don't let that fear of death consume your every thought from day to day. I'm hoping life can be enjoyed to the end, so when the time comes to pass, I can pass on knowing that my life has been something I wouldn't regret or look back on as an unfulfilling life. And with that, we've come to the end of the video. I continue to hope that the Chaos story is something that shall carry a part of Treyarch's Zombies mode, but there's no deniability in the fact that these 4 characters are embedded in the DNA of my own memories as someone who's seen this mode evolve since its early precursors. When the time comes for the official end of these 4 characters, I want to use this video as a way to understand why my past self had really connected with these characters and why I connected with zombies in the first place. Tomorrow, as seen with the Chaos story, zombies could look drastically different, so God forbid that I forget the origins of what got me into the mode in the first place. The Chaos story will inevitably bring in that new player base to grow with the new cast in a fresh start, in addition to giving zombie veterans the chance to welcome that new beginning as they choose to partake in the zombies mode that Treyarch will continue to develop. But all the same, let us continue to create new memories and preserve what the mode means to us as we continue to understand ourselves.